Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. As we all know, Vancouver has a fantastic art scene.
Yeah, absolutely. Our contemporary art scene in the city is celebrated around the world, and sometimes not as celebrated in Vancouver as it should be, but there are some incredible galleries here. Jennifer Winsor joining us from Winsor Gallery to talk about art and all these high-minded things. We're going to make this really stuffy and boring. Cool?
Excellent.
Yeah, excellent. Just what I want. How did you get into this, first of all? I mean, what was it that drew you into the world of art, and specifically contemporary art?
Great question. I was actually in mergers and acquisitions and business strategy.
I figured as much.
Natural transition.
That's exactly what I thought.
Which, yeah, natural segue. And moved to Vancouver and had the opportunity to start again. So, yeah, it was one of those blank canvases, literally. And
so that leads to the next question. What attracts you to an artist and wanting them in your gallery? Is it just a feel for you, or is it getting to know the artist, or the
getting
process?
to know the artist? Honestly, it's very much a relationship-based business, so you want to work well together. It's
And
very
we're looking
important.
at some fantastic pieces today.
Yeah.
We're going to start off with Dana Claxton.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Dana.
She is a professor at UBC. She is a prolific artist who has shown in many biennales and at MoMA and National Gallery. Very, very respected. This is her first foray with a commercial gallery. So we were excited to show her work last year.
No kidding.
Yeah, really fun.
Yeah.
And she's a terrific lady to
Well, and her
talk
work,
to.
as I was looking at it on the website, I mean, it's contemporary and obviously homage or First Nations art, right? I mean,
That's right. Well, she is herself. She's from Saskatchewan, and her work is there's a very strong socio-political commentary, but with a huge sense of humor. So,
And you can see that in the two pieces we looked at. I mean, you can look at them a whole bunch of different ways, but you can definitely see the influence.
well, that's the beauty of art, and especially contemporary art, is there is so much room for humor, perspective, interpretation, all those things coming together from all angles, whether it's the artist or the viewer as well.
absolutely. I mean, you don't want to be yelled at. You don't want a painting to be screaming at you, this is what I am, and you must see only this.
Yeah.
You want to have a relationship with the painting or the photograph and be able to interpret
How
it
much
your own
fun
way.
is it for you? I mean, obviously, when you're building this relationship with an artist, but once you've had it for a couple of years and they're moving through their life as an artist and changing everything, how much fun is it to see what they're doing before anybody else and get a glimpse into where the process is going?
It's the total perk.
Oh my God, yeah. It would be unbelievable.
Nothing like a studio visit.
Okay, let's look at Brian Howell's pieces. We've got 3 pieces of his work, the shopping cart series. This is fantastic. And what did you think? What was your first impression when you saw these?
Funnily, he brought them to me, and they were sort of all done on a sort of a collage. There was just a series of them, like a big grid, and they didn't have the same impact as we've printed up. They're very, very large, almost life size. But we discussed them and how interesting they were because they're not staged. These
And
are.
one would think that they were.
Oh yeah, because they're so clean and interesting. But these are not the possessions of someone. These are items that have been collected for sale.
Yeah.
And so it's a whole.
This is my favorite, and I was really flattered when you told me who bought this piece.
That's right. Doug Copeland has taken this piece on. He also wrote the essay for the show and has been quite involved.
There's this
Very
crazy
supportive.
juxtaposition in Brian's work that I don't even know what it is. I just know that the shopping carts are such, like, it changes the way you look at them, which is such an interesting
They're like pieces
aspect.
of sculpture.
Yeah.
When Brian first saw the first one that was the start of everything, he pulled over in his van. He had his whole family in the car, and his wife was just like, oh no.
Here we go.
Oh, no.
And he went running off to the guy and said, can I meet you, like, say tomorrow at noon, and we'll take a picture? And the guy's looking at him like, hey man, if you want it, $20 right now, because I'm on my way. I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow at noon, kind of thing. So that's how it all started. Brian.
Okay, Bradley Harms.
Yes.
We have one of his pieces here. Tell us a little bit about this.
He's a new artist, he's an emerging artist who has a phenomenal education behind him. He started his schooling in Calgary and then was at the Art Institute of Chicago, which is one of the best places to study in North America. And he does these very strong abstract works. And this piece, in fact, is a series of strips from the sides of his other paintings. And he's brought them all together as a collage.
Interesting.
Yeah, very, very strong, and they're a lovely scale.
There's a fascinating aspect as well, and I sort of alluded to it before, of that idea of watching an artist move through their life and collecting an artist through their different phases, and that whole vertical collection, you know, where you're choosing an artist because you don't you know, their work obviously speaks to you, but you want to see what they're doing and,
like wine.
and how they, yeah.
It's like collect, absolutely. So many artists, they end up with sort of a couple of patrons that are working, collecting their work over years. And Brad would be someone who you'd want to start collecting now at the beginning and then watch him go. Or then this is part of the deal in selecting the artist you're going to pursue.
Yeah.
And sometimes they go through phases that you don't necessarily appreciate at the time, but when you see it in retrospective, or sometimes the most challenging art is the best to collect because it doesn't have that immediate boom, I want you. It challenges you, you know, just that little bit, right?
Absolutely, and it probably is informed by the work they might have done 5 years before. It's a narrative over time, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that piece on its own is lovely, but it's really...
It's part of a bigger story. It's a chapter in the book.
And let's look at a piece by Fiona Ackerman. I really love her stuff too. It's so interesting.
You know, we're catching her right before she goes to Germany for a year to paint with her father. And I mention that because you see there's the abstract work, but there are two sort of apple figures at the top of it. And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It's her homage to her dad.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Right, who's been very, a huge mentor to her, but also, I guess, hard to please, if you will, in typical relationship. So she's very excited to be going back on the heels of a successful show.
Yeah, being the child of an artist would be very interesting
pressure.
if you chose to to follow in that profession. And it's interesting that she's quite open about you know all those things going on.
Loves her relationship with her dad and how it's brought her along.
Okay, last but not least, Angela Grossman. We've got two of her pieces. They're just stunning,
aren't they? And yes, so the show coming up is her first in 7 years.
Yeah,
absolutely, a total darling. And this piece is called Boots. And so she works with oil on vellum, and there are a lot of quite colorful paintings that are going to make up the show. And so that's this one. And then she's got her collage work. She's very well known for the collage work, and it's more critically important, I guess, to her practice. And harder, I think, to take on board because this is quite a...
this piece is just amazing.
It's amazing. And Cindy Sherman is one of her key influences in this work, and this sort of feminist work, and the show's called The Future is Female.
Yeah, I can really tell that you're constantly battling that urge to go back into mergers and acquisitions and re-up that life.
I can see that. No passion for you.
How happy are you that you made that leap, though? I mean, because you have those moments where you know, you have a decision to make and what you're going to do with your life and how you're going to choose to live it. And
take a risk.
Man, good call.
Yeah, good call, and no regrets at all.
Excellent.
Well, thank you so much. If you would like to visit the Windsor Gallery, you can do so on Granville Street, where you can find some really amazing art. Just grab a coffee and take a stroll.
Yeah, current exhibit is Fiona Ackerman, and it runs until April 1st. And following that, check out the upcoming exhibit of Angela Grossman's art from April 4th to May 6th. That will be an absolute stunner. There'll be a lot of little red dots all over the wall, I think. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We're going to take a quick